In 2024, Jose Abreu has been statistically one of the worst batters in all of baseball, and because of this, he was released by the Houston Astros despite being owed $30 million over the next 2 years. All of this after he was on top of the baseball world, winning one of the most prestigious individual honors in the MVP award during the 2020 season. So how did a consistent, durable star all of a sudden lose his ability to hit? Well, to find out, let's go back to where his career all started. Jose Abreu was born in Cienfuegos, Cuba, and at just 16 years old began playing for his local professional team, Los Elefantes de Cienfuegos. And as he continued to develop through his teenage years as well as early 20s, he blossomed into one of the Cuban League's best players. In fact, during the 2010 to 2011 season, he posted one of the greatest individual campaigns in the league's history, managing to post 33 home runs and 93 RBIs in just 66 games to go along with an unbelievable .453 batting average and over 1,500 OPS. All of this culminated in him winning the MVP award, the first in his hometown team's history in over 30 years, and because of this, he became one of Team Cuba's most crucial players during their 2013 World Baseball Classic run when he hit .383 with 3 homers and 9 RBIs in just 6 games. And it was at this time, playing against MLB players, that he decided he wanted to try his luck in America, a decision that surprised most. For example, a journalist in Cuba who covers Cienfuegos stated, "Nobody expected it. Unlike other players, he never expressed intentions to leave the country, not even when he was offered millions in the Classic to do it. So he did what every Cuban with aspirations of playing in America had to do, that being defect his home country, leaving behind his family, including just his 2-year-old son. And while this decision was by far the most difficult in his young life, he knew that by getting to America and playing in MLB, he would not only challenge his athletic ability, but also help provide for not only his son, but for generations of the Abreu family. And so on a dark August night in 2013, he left on a small boat and struggled for 12 hours through 15-foot waves. He even mentioned that there were times where he thought he was going to drown, but he made it to Haiti, where he was able to declare residency and enter MLB free agency. Now at this time, guys like Aroldis Chapman, Yoenis Cespedes, and Yasiel Puig had already defected Cuba and were tearing MLB apart. Because of this, it seemed as though every team wanted to find the next Cuban star. For some, it did not work, like when the Red Sox signed Rusney Castillo for 7 years, $72.5 million, only for him to post 1.6 WAR across 3 seasons. And the Diamondbacks with Yasmani Tomas, who posted -2.5 WAR in 4 seasons after signing a 6-year, $68.5 million deal. The White Sox, on the other hand, struck gold when they signed Abreu for $68 million across 6 years prior to the 2014 season. And in just his first year, there was already high hopes for him, shown by the Sox electing to put him in the cleanup spot in his MLB debut, where he would go on to manage 2 hits with an RBI and a run, helping the Sox win by a narrow scoreline of 5-3. It was a great start for Abreu, and he continued this success throughout the rest of the season. In fact, he won Rookie of the Month not once, not twice, but 3 times, as well as Player of the Month not once, but twice. And because of this, he was an easy pick for Rookie of the Year, where he would go on to garner all 30 first place votes, and for good reason. Because he wasn't just elite for a rookie, he was already one of the best players in the entire league, finishing 4th in MVP voting, only trailing Mike Trout, Victor Martinez, and Michael Brantley. Not bad company to find yourself alongside, but to back it up even further, take a look at this stat. Since the integration era started all the way back in 1947, his OPS plus of 173 still to this day ranks as the highest mark for a rookie, and the players just below him on this list include all-time greats in Aaron Judge, Mike Trout, and Mark McGwire. Yeah, not a bad first season at all, and while he didn't find as much success from 2015 to 2019, he was still among the game's best players in most offensive categories, including 15th in home runs at 143, 7th in RBIs at 504, and 23rd in OPS plus at 127. And from this success, he was able to secure his second lucrative contract in MLB by signing a 3-year, $30 million extension to stay in the South Side, where he would go on to deliver more than the Sox could have ever hoped for in just his first season in this new deal. Throughout the abbreviated campaign, Abreu had monster games such as his September 12th display against the Tigers, in which he went 4 for 4 with 5 runs scored, 2 homers, and 7 RBIs. He also tied the MLB record of most most consecutive at-bats with a home run when he hit 4 across August 22nd and 23rd off Kyle Hendricks, Rowan Wick, Dwayne Underwood Jr., and Yu Darvish. And in the end, these efforts helped him take home the AL MVP award. I know, it was only 60 games, which allowed guys like Dominic Smith as well as Luke Voigt to be among the game's best players that season, but still, he was given the same opportunity as everyone else and he wasted no part in it, leading the league in hits, RBI, slugging percentage, and total bases. You could even see just how much this award meant for him, as he couldn't even bring himself to lift his head to talk to the guys at MLB Network for almost 2 minutes, and throughout the rest of his appearance he was still overcome with emotion. But could you blame him? At 25 years old, he defected his home country. It's where he grew up, where he made his best friends, and where he was starting a family. It wasn't an easy decision, and for him to come over to MLB and win the most prestigious individual honor in the game is an incredible accomplishment, which makes it no wonder why it was hard for him to put his emotions into words. But stated afterwards, I was super excited to share that moment with my family, with the people that I love, and I'm just grateful to be able to be honored with this award. You should enjoy what life gives you, and that was a very special moment for me. This was by far the best season of Abreu's career, and while he didn't maintain his elite 165 OPS plus in 2021, he was still effective with a 124 figure and became one of just 3 players that season to post at least 30 homers and 115 RBIs, alongside Salvador Perez and Teoscar Hernandez. He also helped make history twice during the season, the first being top of the 9th inning against Cleveland on April 14th, when he picked up the grounder off the bat of Josh Naylor, barely beating him out at first base by sliding into the bag in order to keep Carlos Rodon's no-hitter intact. Then later in the season, he became the first player to ever hit an MLB home run in the state of Iowa when he homered off Andrew Heaney during the first game ever played at the Field of Dreams Stadium. And in the end, his efforts helped the White Sox return to the postseason for the second straight year after having one of the longest playoff droughts in sports from 2009 to 2019. It truly felt as though Abreu had so much left in the tank after having arguably his best 2-year spell in his entire career, but in 2022, while he raised his average by 43 points and OPS plus by 10, there were signs he was on the decline. But before we dive deep into it, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Under 510 Clothing. Under 510 is a men's clothing brand that provides comfortable and affordable clothes for all us shorter guys out there. And by clicking the link in the description, you get a $10 coupon to their website, where they have a wide selection including joggers that wick away moisture to keep you dry and cool during the summer months, athletic t-shirts which have become my favorite to work out in, and many, many more. And with summer now upon us, as well as this great offer, there is no better time to upgrade your wardrobe with Under 510. Alright, thank you Under 510 for sponsoring this video. Now back to the content. The first and most obvious reason why he may have been on the decline was from his lack of home run power, because although he posted the second highest single season doubles mark of his career, his 15 home runs in 157 games was a major step back from his previous career norm. In fact, we can see that his home run percentage in 2022 was half of what it was just the year prior, and a third from 2020. Now, this can be due to many reasons, but it's hard not to overlook his lack of production against the four-seam fastball, a pitch he previously was able to do damage on. In 2019, he had a positive 13 run value against this pitch. In 2020, it was at 5, respectable for the shortened season, and in 2021, it was 8, not bad either. However, in 2022, it was -9, which was tied for the 17th worst mark in MLB that season. But practically all of his other metrics were still elite. He posted the lowest strikeout percentage of his career and the second highest walk percentage. He also had underlying metrics such as expected batting average, expected slugging percentage, and average exit velocity ranking among the best in baseball, which meant he had his fair share of suitors in free agency in the Chicago Cubs, Cleveland Guardians, and Miami Marlins, just to name a few. But in the end, he signed with the Houston Astros on a 3-year, $58.5 million deal. When Abreu signed with the Astros, he took over first base from Yuli Gurriel, who found great success between 2017 to 2021, including the batting title in 21. But in 2022, he struggled with a .252 average and 85 OPS plus, giving the Astros some of the worst offensive stats from the first base position, ranking 25th in OPS that season. But by signing Abreu, the club was confident they would get back to having plus offense from the first base position. And while he did become one of just 7 first basemen in MLB to post at least 18 homers and 90 RBIs in 2023, there wasn't much else to get excited about, because in reality, it was his worst season of his career by a landslide. From 2014 to 2022, Abreu had a 292 average and an 860 OPS, but in 2023, his average dropped by 55 points and OPS by 180. And when looking furthermore at his percentile rankings, you can see there wasn't much he did right. This meant the Astros, who thought they were getting the answer to their first base problem, ranked once again in 25th place in OPS among first basemen. Yeah, it's safe to say Abreu had a tough first season in his new threats, but he wasn't shaken up about it, stating, "The past is the past. Sometimes when things don't go well, you've got to try to fix some things and learn from it and relax as much as possible. You try to learn as much as you can from bad things." For Abreu, this meant trying new off-season training protocols, including doing Pilates 3 times a week, something he hoped would help his back and the rest of his body stay healthy. And towards the end of spring training, he was ready, hoping to put his 2023 season as far away into the past as possible, but as mentioned, he has been one of the worst hitters in all of baseball. In his 35 games this season, he is just a 124 average, 167 OBP, and 195 slugging for an OPS of 361, helping him to an OPS plus of only 4. For reference, the league-wide average is 100, meaning he has been 96% worse than just the average hitter in baseball. And this figure has actually been historically bad. Since the wildcard era began in 1995, it is the 7th worst single-season mark among players with as many opportunities at the plate. And all of this has led to negative 1.6 WAR, putting him on pace for negative 7.4 over the course of a full season. To put that into context, that would be the worst single season mark in MLB history by 3.3 wins, which would mean the difference between him and second place would be the same difference as second place and 3,059th place. Now, obviously, no team would allow a player to play every game at that abysmal pace, but I still think it's interesting to see the extent of how wrong things had gone for Abreu to open the season. And because of this, the Astros sent him down to the minor leagues to regroup, but when he did make his return to the big league squad, he didn't perform much better with a 167 average and 519 OPS in 13 games. And following his outing against the San Francisco Giants on June 12th, in which he went 0 for 3, the club decided it would be best to part ways and released him, putting Abreu without a team and the Astros on the hook for more than $30 million over the next year and a half for a player no longer on the roster. Now, this does mean any team can sign him for the league minimum $720,000, chump change for every franchise. However, with horrible face numbers, underlying metrics that all point downward, and the fact that he's in his age 37 season means there's little chance of him finding his former glory. And if this is the case, then let's look past his last 2 years and focus on his triumphs. Because it's not easy to defect your home country, leave everything you know, including your 2-year-old son, and start a new life in a foreign land. And yet, he became one of the best players in the league in just his rookie season, even managing to win an MVP award 6 years later. And when he does ultimately call it quits, he will finish his career as one of the best Cuban players in MLB history. So if this is the end, what an incredible career it was. One about bravery, determination, and what one is willing to do to test both his physical and mental limits for not only his dream but his family too.